Hello, everybody. I am Joey from the Chart Guys. I've been trading for 7 years, joined the Chart Guys 6 years ago as a member, and now I'm sitting here in Dan's wacky room here to talk to y'all about some crypto. So, as you can see, the title says, How high can Bitcoin go? And as we can see, the first comment in the live stream here is the crystal ball, and that is the exact answer. Anybody who is telling you that they know how high Bitcoin can go is fooling themselves. So nobody knows how high it can go, but what we do know is how we can track its health along the way. And right now, we've got a very clear daily stair step. So if we look at this, just high or low, every daily candle on the way up, and nothing changes until that breaks. So it's looking like maybe that could be breaking here soon. We're gonna, as we're slated now, we are near the low of the day, but there's still 4 hours left on the candle, so we'll have to see. So just watching the higher low every daily candle pattern in conjunction with the 4-hour 12 EMA. And for us to be confident in any daily consolidation getting underway, we're going to need to see the 4-hour 12 EMA lost as well as the daily stair step. So right now we're just kind of basing out sideways, and we're seeing a hallmark of a healthy crypto bull market. Bitcoin's going sideways, Bitcoin dominance is dropping, and as a result, many alts are popping. We've got a handful of red ones here, but if we look through the list, there's lots of green out and about. So that is the rotation that you like to see in the crypto space. So to look at Bitcoin dominance a little bit more, we are testing our daily higher low support, and if that is lost, that would be the loss of the daily uptrend here, and we'd have to look to daily 12 EMA for potential support there. And if that is lost, then we've got some weekly consolidation looking to shape up on Bitcoin dominance. And what crypto bulls want to see is that is alts seeing a stronger move up than Bitcoin. You don't want to see that being Bitcoin leading the way down and everything dropping in unison. So right now, this is what crypto bulls want to see: continued rotation. And it is worth noting that these red names here are our names that were previously strong. So it makes sense to be continuing to see that rotation throughout here. So let's go back to Bitcoin, zoom in a little bit more at this point. 4-hour 12 EMA is right around 51.4K. Bulls want to hold that on this pullback to keep the show on the road. If that's lost, that would open up the door for a lower high on the next bounce. But we had that back here on Tuesday. And if you remember from the stream Monday, I had a Bitcoin short that I opened up, and I was looking for some daily consolidation. So I didn't end up covering anything on this pullback here and ended up stopping out while I was sleeping on new highs. Small loss, no harm, no foul. It was kind of funny because I posted in chat, I was like, I got no plans to cover the short, and that was like the bottom. But that's how it goes. Let me find it in here. We had a member, what is his name? I'm forgetting. D Theo absolutely nailed the short. We took it about the same time, and he did cover at the lows. Absolutely drilled it there. So I don't know if this is the thread that he did it. Yeah, I don't know that I can find it right now. Oh, here it is. I'll pull it over. So D Theo exited my short, and that was at 12:20 on February 13th, which was pretty much the low. And let's put myself on blast. Yeah, I have no plans to cover. Perhaps hourly oversold for a partial. And we didn't get there, and I stopped out. That's the game. So if I hadn't had as good of an entry as I did, I probably would have been covering some, but it was a very tiny loss with a stop over the high. But, good lesson regardless on why we always talk about taking partials. And again, shout out to D Theo for drilling that. And that brings up another good thing here, or another important thing here, is that if we get daily consolidation underway, we're going to be looking to hourly oversold, because that will be a back burner. So as things stand now, let's go to the hourly chart and figure out where hourly oversold would be. That is currently slated around pretty much right around 50K. So this line would come up if we were to continue dropping down, but let's go ahead and mark this up and see. I'm sure it'll be well above the daily 12 EMA, but it's always kind of nicest when you can get confluence where your back burner is lining up with the larger nested time frame EMA. But right now, yeah, that's way above the daily 12 EMA. So we'll just take it one step at a time. First step is, can bears break the daily stair step? And then second step will be, can bulls buy up hourly oversold? If we don't bounce from hourly oversold, it's not like Bitcoin bulls are dead or anything like that. For me, the health of daily consolidation is going to depend on daily 12 EMA. If we hold daily 12 EMA, that is a-okay, and bulls are healthy and going to be looking to continue the move. If we lose daily 12 EMA, that's when we'd start talking about some weekly consolidation. And as I've been saying for quite some time now, the weekly 12 EMA is going to be our top guide. It's just that simple. We can keep things nice and simple. If Bitcoin bulls are holding weekly 12 EMA, then we don't have any concerns about the potential 6-month lower high shaping up. I'll continue to bring it up just so that nobody can say they were blindsided if we end up tightening up on the 6-month time frame like we did in 2019, and just bringing to light that in 2019, and let's actually go to the Coinbase chart so we can get, or no, we'll do the BLX so we can get the full deep history. And we'll go to the quarterly for it. On this bounce here, tons of people were talking about new all-time highs and this and that, and everybody was bullish, and that's typically how it gets at tops. So I'm not bearish. I'm not saying that bulls are foolish up here. I'm saying we got to trust our trends, and the weekly 12 EMA is going to be our guide, because we didn't, as you can see here, we didn't just teleport down to the lows. There were signs off of this top in 2019, and if we are to see a similar fate with the tightening range here, there will be signs. Nobody needs to predict anything, and that's the beauty of TA, and kind of ties back into what we talked about at the beginning of the stream here. Anybody who tells you that they know where we're going to top or they know where we're going to get to, they just are blowing smoke up your booty, because that's not really how the game works. It's about reacting to what we've got going on, and right now we've got very clear guides. So daily stair step in the intermediate term, weekly 12 EMA, bigger picture, and then even when weekly 12 EMA is lost, we'll be looking down to monthly 12 EMA on these EMAs that are now cross bullish. So many steps would need to play out for a 6-month lower high to shape up, but I will always mention it because that's what we do here. We just weigh out both sides. We look at what bears are looking at, what bulls are looking at, and that helps us properly parse through probabilities as they come about. So looking at the hourly here, we've got a clear base of support that bulls are defending. We'll just call it, let's see, 51.6K, I suppose we'll roll with. And if that's lost, that'll be more legit 4-hour consolidation, and then that 4-hour 12 EMA will be right there. And again, bulls want to hold that if they want to keep the daily stair step going. You lose the 4-hour 12 EMA, that's when bears would be creating that room for the lower high. So that's what we've got going on Bitcoin. Let's look through. So with BTC dominance dropping, we've got ETH continuing to higher highs. And actually, when was the last time we streamed? It was Monday. So ETH hadn't broken to higher highs yet. So weekly, straight up to higher highs, increasing bull volume. And this is just another really important thing to file away, because again, we determine what our most likely scenarios are, but we don't just YOLO into stuff anticipating that the most likely thing is going to play out, because it doesn't play out all the time. Trading is about being nimble and looking for clues along the way. And one of the clues that the less likely scenario may play out of straight up higher highs after a pullback right to support is increasing volume. So once you see that increasing volume, that tells us that, okay, we've got to keep our mind open to the fact that we very well could go to higher highs here. And then that can extrapolate out to looking at peers, because, okay, so Bitcoin went straight to higher highs. Now ETH has gone straight to higher highs. That increases the odds that peers can also go straight to higher highs. But that doesn't mean we don't evaluate their volume along the way to see if they're giving those same clues that Bitcoin and ETH gave. So as far as ETH, we've got a daily uptrend, we've got a daily stair step now in the short term, and we've got relative strength on the day. We've had relative strength for a few days here now. So zooming into the 4 hour, very clear 4 hour 12 EMA support, and I reckon this is probably hourly even before that. Not quite. I mean, we lost it a little bit, but bulls are back on it. So we'll say we're watching hourly 12 EMA, and if that's lost, we're zooming out to 4 hour 12 EMA, and if that's lost, we're zooming out to daily 12 EMA. And as long as the daily uptrend is intact, then ETH bulls remain strong here. We've got a little hourly higher low support at 2802, and that 4 hour 12 EMA is right above our last 4 hour higher low at 2761, and yeah, that's currently around 2767. So to look at ETH BTC, we ended up getting that megaphone that we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Went a little bit deeper than I anticipated, or not really anticipated, but this is what I just drew up back on that stream as a loose guide for what we could be looking for. It dipped below it a little bit, but now we've got a daily stair step up. So as long as this chart is going up, then ETH is maintaining its relative strength, but in a traditional sense, we would be looking for a lower high compared to this 5590 level. So, and this brings up another point here. So while a lower high compared to 5590 is the most likely scenario, if that's going to shape up, we need to see the 4 hour uptrend lost. So again, you don't need to just bank on being right with these things. You can zoom in, use clues on smaller time frames, and then piece together this never-ending puzzle of clues and whatnot. So that's what we've got going on with ETH. LTC weak. LTC very weak. We've got a daily bounce underway. Much more confident that a lower high compared to 73.45 is most likely here, as long as LTC BTC remains weak. We're at new all-time lows on LTC BTC, and a lot of people say, like, why do we even talk about LTC? And the reason is because it's nice to look at what weak coins are doing. So you can have your strong coins compared against Bitcoin, compared against your weak coins, and it just gives you a rounded perspective of this whole game. So if LTC USD were to come to life, then it would be on the heels of LTC BTC likely getting another weekly bounce underway. So daily stair step, daily downtrend, daily 12 EMA resistance, and nothing really changes for LTC relative weakness as long as that is the case here. So let's see, I suppose we'll look at SOL. So SOL is testing weekly resistance. Not testing, but getting close there. 126.36 is that level. We know weekly 12 EMA going to be our top guide. As long as that is support, then bulls are chilling. And we got a little weekly stair step here. We have got a little daily uptrend, daily 12 EMA support. So looking like maybe some daily consolidation fixing to shape up here. Then anything over 103.40 would be a daily higher low. In an ideal world, hourly oversold conditions mark a daily higher low. Those currently are around 110.70, and let's see if that's a little bit above our daily 12 EMA. So again, hourly oversold is the ideal daily higher low location, but for me, the EMAs hold more weight, I would say, than whether or not the back burner hit. If bulls maintain daily 12 EMA, then we're looking up to these 2023 highs on SOL. So let's take a look at SOL BTC, see if we have any clues there. SOL BTC, so we have bearish divergence in that the ratio is not nearly as strong as the USD pairing. So what SOL USD bulls want to see is this little haphazard daily downtrend on SOL BTC. You want to see that break and go to the upside, and that would be the fuel that brings SOL USD to new highs potentially. If the space remains strong and Bitcoin keeps chugging along, then we could float up to these highs without the ratio participating. but bulls have made a ton of progress here without any ratio support. So if the ratio does start supporting, then that would bring SOL back into the spotlight here. But for now, it remains, strong, but it's not like ripping. It's not ripping. So let's look at Link. So Link, let me zoom out a little bit. So we know we got our monthly uptrend. We know we've got our weekly uptrend, weekly 12 EMA going to be our guide here, like many other names. And we're just kind of sideways at the highs. So you could call this a little fresh daily higher low at 1945, but I am, bulls are in control as long as we're holding daily 12 EMA. And I'm more concerned with this base of support down just below 18 psychological. And we're just going sideways here. You can treat it, maybe it's better on the 8-hour equilibrium, high, low, lower high. Bulls getting a higher low set here. And if this whole thing breaks to the upside, then we'll say that 1945 is our new key support. But if this were to break to the downside, then that's when we're looking to daily 12 EMA. So let's look at some of our strong bulls. So SEI confirming a weekly bull flag, going to new all-time highs. And this is why we keep eyes on our blue sky bulls and why on this pullback we're talking about SEI and all of that stuff, because now at this point, off of the low, we're up 66%. So got a daily stair step here, daily uptrend. Next time we lose the daily stair step, we'll be looking back to hourly oversold conditions, see if that can mark a daily higher low. And as long as bulls hold the 12 EMA, they will remain strong. Surely we have an EMA rider on a smaller time frame. Yeah, we got 4-hour 12 EMA. So no daily consolidation shaping up unless the 4-hour 12 EMA is lost. So that is a nice blue sky bull. Let's see. We'll talk about TIA because we're getting some red flags here from the ratio chart. We know that in a bubble, this chart is okay. We're in a weekly uptrend just coming off of blue skies. But if we look at our ratio chart, we can see we've lost weekly higher low support. So that is showing relative weakness on this name after being a beast for quite some time. So it's worth being aware of. But we know that if that red flag is going to manifest in the USD pairing, we would have to lose some uptrends. And right now I'm liking the 2-day uptrend. We're testing 2-day 12 EMA at this point, and anything over 1560 would be a higher low. Got a little daily stair step all the way down, and you can just see that relative weakness that is shown on the ratio chart. We see how that shows up in the USD pairing. So another one that we were talking about last week, INJ, we've got this beautiful 2-day equilibrium. So when we were talking about it, I think, so when was that? Monday? I guess Monday we were talking about 2-day lower high, most likely scenario on this bounce. That is now set here at 37.19, and it's going to be all about this tightening range. If it breaks bull, then the show goes on and bulls are holding weekly 12 EMA, which is our guide. And if it breaks bear, that'd be some monthly consolidation shaping on up, which we won't be able to be shocked about if that comes after a 600% plus move from our last monthly higher low. And then we'd be looking down to daily oversold conditions, monthly 12 EMA. But for now, there's opportunity for bulls and bears within this range. And it's nice when you have an equilibrium because your risk is defined and there's just no lack of clarity. There's not really any room for anything ambiguous. Your bears are looking short off the highs of the range. Bulls are looking long off the lows of the range. And, this is healthy consolidation. After the move up that it's had, it is healthy consolidation. So if rotation continues to flow through the space, and if the space continues to stay strong, then INJ bulls are hopeful that they can catch a wave. And let's look at INJ BTC, see if that has its consolidation underway already. It does. So there's two ways that this can play out. One is that the ratio chart is prefacing incoming weakness into the USD pairing, and that's what bears want to see. They say, okay, we've got this relative weakness, we just got to wait for it to bleed into the USD pairing. So that's the bear hope. The bull hope is that, wow, we're still holding a sideways range on the USD pairing while the ratio chart is coming down. We know we're looking for a monthly higher low on the ratio chart. If the monthly higher low on the ratio chart shapes up, then INJ-USD will be positioned really well to break that sideways range to the upside. And we saw something similar on Link. Link, the ratio chart was consolidating on the monthly, so Link USD was weak while everybody else was strong. But then as soon as that monthly higher low shaped up on the ratio chart, that's when Link USD came back to life and ended up seeing a really nice move. So since that low, we got a 70% move there on Link. So there's multiple ways that it can play out. And at this point, when Link lost the weekly uptrend, it was looking like, okay, well, that ratio chart did end up giving the clue to Link, and bulls are not in great shape. But we knew to zoom out, look for a monthly higher low. We knew that if we didn't see any follow through on this and immediately bounced on the weekly, that increased the odds of a monthly bull flag. So there's a lot of people think that we're predicting things when we do this stuff. It's not predicting things. It's just identifying what are we seeing and what does that mean for us, and what's the next step of the things that we need to look for. Anytime you break support or resistance, you got to evaluate magnitude of follow through. If you get follow through, then that team is doing its job. If you don't get that follow through, then that tells you that perhaps a larger time frame pivot is coming. But it's funny when people talk trash about TA, it's really just a matter of not putting in the time to understand it, which makes sense. You need to put in a lot of time to get this stuff under your belt, but it's absolutely not about predicting. It's about reacting and laying out scenarios like we just did there with INJ, so that if these things are happening, we know what's going on and we know what it means and we know where to look to next. So let's see what else we got here. OP, weekly bounce, we're coming up to all-time high resistance, 428.4, and we've got a daily stair step. Has been intact, perhaps longer than Bitcoin. Let's see, that was the 5th. When did Bitcoin start? Same time. So daily stair step, just as long as Bitcoin here. It's not as impulsive, but bulls are just slinking along. Once we lose that daily stair step, bulls will be looking for a higher low. If we get a little more follow through here, we'll be looking for like a cup and handle potentially. And let's see what we've got for an EMA rider. 4-hour 12 EMA, clean as you like it. Clean as you like it. A couple other blue sky bulls to add to the list here. We've got TAO USD pumping up through blue skies, clear daily 12 EMA support. That's beautiful. So much of trading is about clarity versus like loyalty to a name or this or that, or liking the fundamentals of a name, and I speak as a trader. I'm not trashing in investors and people with fundamental knowledge, because at this point y'all hopefully know that I don't have any fundamental knowledge in the crypto space. I'm just a chart nerd, and as a chart nerd and as a trader, I love clarity. That's my top priority. So TAO, daily uptrend, daily 12 EMA, bulls are in full control as long as that is the case. PNDL, another one as far as clarity, just beautiful. Daily 12 EMA, up in blue skies. And these things, when you have these EMA riders, there's two ways to go about it. And you can go about it both ways if you're an active trader. One way is, all right, you're looking long off of daily 12 EMA support, and you just keep making that play as long as it works. And the other thing you can do is you can say, all right, once we lose daily 12 EMA, then I'm gonna look short. So love clarity. Let's see, Sui, another daily 12 EMA rider, not quite in blue skies yet, but getting close there. I always put a little less weight on these big old listing candles, but with it being all we've got, certainly going to be watching it. And yeah, daily uptrend, daily 12 EMA guide, daily inside bar. If that breaks bear, we'll have consolidation, and anything over 167.8 would be a daily higher low. And what else we got? RNDR is seeing a nice move off that weekly 12 EMA. You'll remember back in here, this was one of our top watches for a weekly higher low. Took a bit to shake on out, but now we've got bulls coming up towards this 535 resistance. Looks like all-time highs on on Coinbase and on Binance USDT, but if we look at, let's see, I think regular Binance, we've got more price history up there. So not at blue skies yet, but not too far away. And in this kind of environment, you want to be looking for coins with that blue sky potential, because when things get into blue skies, that's just where stuff gets nutty. I mean, we can look at, say, TAO. I mean, this one's been in blue skies for a while here, but just off of the weekly higher highs here, 73%. The move off the weekly lows, 247%. Or if we go into the stock world, SMCI absolutely beasting through blue skies. Look what can happen in blue skies. From the last clear pivot, we are now up 226%. Or you look at ARM, there's a lot of semiconductor hype right now, but from when we went to blue skies, let me get that dinged right there. So 138% after we broke to new all-time highs. Obviously, a lot of that came on earnings, but blue skies are worth seeking out because you don't have people waiting to sell their bags to you. That's the whole thing. It's a supply and demand thing. Like if we look at like the cannabis space, the biggest stinker in the cannabis space, CGC, makes me sad. You were supposed to be the king. Obviously not the king. But if this were to ever come back to life, anybody who's bought this stuff other than the last day is underwater. So you got people that are underwater, and any pump we get, they're going to say, oh, thank God I'm break even, I'm selling. Thank God I'm break even. And if you don't think there's people holding from back here, then you're crazy. So that's why blue skies are so important here. So let's see, we'll go through our weekly lower high list, and we kind of got to reevaluate some things now. Y'all know I've had this list of like, these are the weekly lower high shorts that I'm looking for. And some of them are still looking good, but as more alts go to weekly higher highs, got to be cautious that bleeds through and other names go to higher highs. So Matic, still a ton of room for a weekly lower high, and still my favorite scout for the weekly lower high on this list, mainly because we have the confluence of, I guess it's a quarterly equilibrium. High, low, lower high, higher low, and anything below 156 would be a lower high. So you get the deep weekly pullback. Everything lines up from a multiple time frame analysis perspective. So that's still my top watch, but I'm definitely going to be, I'm not just scaling into this stuff. I would want to see a sign that it's shaping up. And what that would look like is losing the daily 12 EMA. Then you fish that high and you say, all right, that's either going to be our weekly lower high or I'm wrong. And you move on. So Matic, I still think looks good for it. AXS, getting follow through on the daily falling wedge. Still tons of room for it. The weekly lower high, that is. So I think that one still looks good for it. Uni, not looking so good for it. You had plenty of room for a weekly lower high, and there's still a decent amount of space, but as one name breaks, then it increases the odds that others will follow. So Uni, I'll go ahead and drag it down to the bottom of the list. Theta, still very well good for it. ETC, I'd say still good for it. It's not seeing nearly the pump that Ethereum is seeing. We know on that initial move up, it moved very strong with Ethereum, but much weaker now, and this probably could be seen as a bit of a wedge. Let's see if we can draw something up. Certainly not going to be the prettiest, but these higher highs really not seeing follow through, showing a little bear exhaustion. So yeah, I like that. That would be the route for the weekly lower high, and this ties back into, you need to use your tools and your multiple time frame analysis. You don't need to commit to a thesis, stick to it, and then just YOLO in off of it. We determine the most likely scenarios so that our mind is open to whatever's going on, and then we look for signs that we may be right on that, or not that we may be right on that, because that's not the mindset you want to have. It's not about being right and wrong. It's about listening to the love language of the charts. So the love language of this is saying bulls are struggling. They're struggling to see higher highs, and when we couple that with the objective bit that a weekly lower high compared to this 32.48 would not be shocking due to the percentage move down, then that's when you have a multifaceted thesis that's worth putting your money in on. So FIL, still tons of room for the weekly lower high. AAVE, still tons of room for the weekly lower high. Atom, still looking good for it. And GMT, still looking good for it. This is a potential head and shoulders here. Is that off the 12 EMA? Right off the 12 EMA. So that's another pretty nice setup there. But to talk about what we talked about last stream, this weekly lower high short scout list it can also be a laggard bull list. And at this point, the laggard bull plays have started to play on out. But we'll see, how long does rotation go? Does Bitcoin dominance dump? And while Bitcoin sees healthy daily consolidation and alts get some pumps, if that's the case, then we'll probably see rotation go through everybody. But if Bitcoin dominance dumps because Bitcoin's dumping and everything else is dumping with it, then the rotation is not going to be playing on out. So we'll just take it a step at a time, a day at a time. One day at a time. So ADA, fittingly near the low of the list, weekly lower high, still definitely possible. But at this point, it's not too far away. So let's look at our daily. So daily 12 EMA, daily uptrend going to be the guide. It's part of the alts that are seeing the relative strength today with Bitcoin dominance coming down. And that's that. What else we got? I haven't looked at APT, so that's kind of just a one-day pop there, quite strong. Be looking for a 4-hour high or low, watching 4-hour 12 EMA. What do we got bigger picture here, though? Just a monthly stair step. Bulls trying to see continuation. What's up, Sweetie? I don't know if you guys can see Sweetie here, Dan's dog. You want to say hi to everybody, Sweets? She wants some food. Food time's 4 p.m., baby. Food time is 4 p.m., baby. I'll be with you in a little bit. All right, so let's see. I got one more thing to say, and then we'll get into some tickers. So we know the miners have been giving clues to what Bitcoin does, and we got daily consolidation here now. So it's been the daily stair step up, just like Bitcoin, and we have a notably weak day with Bitcoin still pretty strong today, and the broad market's still pretty strong today. And we've got Mara, Riot, weak. So that is a point in favor for perhaps this daily stair step is fixing to break here. So let's see. We do have bears making a little bit of a move here. So 4-hour 12 EMA. Going to need to act as support if the show is going to continue. All right. That's what I got. Let's see what y'all got. Hello, yo, everybody. Daily Crypto, Josh, Stevie's Journey. Nice to see y'all. Jay Jones, what up? Thank you, Cheeky Scarecrow. I appreciate that, friend. Let's see, Tom. TIA USD hourly falling wedge bear break approaching 4-hour oversold. Yeah, let's go. Let's look into that. Yeah, that's not a great look. Anytime you see a bullish pattern break bearish, it's worth noting because it's just another clue that shifts probabilities there, because if bulls were groovy, then that would have broken to the upside. So a lot of times you'll see when these wedges break bear that there is solid follow through on that. So 4-hour oversold is coming into play, and we are looking for a 2-day higher low at this EMA. So right now, bulls certainly not looking good. What would they need to do to start looking good? They would need to regain an hourly uptrend as step one. We've just got an hourly stair step down. We probably have 15-minute 12 EMA resistance. Yeah, I'd say the most aggressive bulls looking for a 2-day higher low on TIA are waiting to get over a 15-minute 12 EMA. More patient are going to wait for a move above hourly 12 EMA, even though that wasn't a very good sign, these last two. But yeah, personally, I think when you got the big old red flag of the US or the BTC pairing being so weak, that gives me caution and has me be patient with a name, because essentially one of the hardest things you can do in trading is try to nail the shift from relative weakness to relative strength. It can definitely be done, but it's very difficult. It's the highest risk, highest reward type of move that you can do. So what I would want to see, if I'm looking for TIA to come back to life, let's see, it's probably 2 hour 12 EMA. There's a little pop over. It depends how aggressive you want to be. If you want to be the most aggressive, you would say, all right, when bulls get over hourly 12 EMA on the BTC pairing, I'm going to take a crack at the USD pairing. Look for a setup there, figure out your risk, put your stop in, and go for it. That's what the more aggressive bulls are doing. More patient are going to wait to get over 4 hour 12 EMA and look for a shift there. All right. Let's see, Hort Stew. Joey, what do you think of ETH BTC weekly oversold bounce? 5th time in history. Bounce usually occurs 1 to 3 months later. Let's see, let's go back to ETH BTC. Yeah, so we haven't had it too often. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How long did these other ones go? Yeah, these other ones ended up seeing a decent bit of follow through. This one didn't. This one is actually pretty similar to what we've got now, and it did end up going a good bit lower. So we've got one led to a huge bottom, one did not. A second one led to a big bottom, and a third one led to a big bottom. So we've got 3 to 1 for it being a good signal of a larger momentum shift. But at this point, for ETH bulls, they're gonna need to get back up and over 61.17. So a lot of work to be done. I mean, I'm very open to it. I'm very open to it because if we look at the yearly chart, we're looking for a higher low. And at this point, we've entered consolidation without follow through. So again, talking about the signals of when you break a level, we were in double year or triple yearly inside bars at the time, and then we broke out of the bottom. That should be the go signal for bears, and it wasn't. It ended up being a go signal for bulls. So that tells you something. So I'm very open to ETH bulls capitalizing on the fact that we broke this key support and saw zero follow through. But what is the pathway to that? Bulls got to regain a daily uptrend, got to regain a weekly uptrend, because we are, I usually don't designate pivots on a outside bar. Maybe the 2-week time frame will have the clarity. Yeah, I think we'll look at the 2-week and say that bulls need to regain a 2-week uptrend, which again is getting through that 61.17. So definitely an area of interest, and step 1 of bulls regaining some momentum will be a daily uptrend. So got to get the daily uptrend. We got it back here, and then immediately saw that it didn't have follow through, and that was the first sign. As soon as you break resistance and then you enter daily consolidation, that tells you that, okay, well, this could be a bear flag, and it was. It broke bear really quickly just in one candle. So got to go a step at a time. Got to get a daily uptrend. Got to get up and over 55.90 and not stay in this megaphone, and then you got to work back up to that 61.17. So again, as far as like predicting, like I will never make a prediction that like, okay, ETH is destined to go to 6,000 or whatever because ETH BTC is going to new all-time highs, or whatever. I will never say anything like that, but I will lay out like, okay, if this is going to be the 4th instance of ETH BTC weekly oversold, setting a bigger picture bottom, say like a quarterly bottom, then bulls need to regain daily uptrend, 2-week uptrend in this context. We'll see how things shape out. We could divert back to the weekly if bulls say bounce like that and then they do that, then we'll just defer to the weekly. But at this point, with where we have clarity, the 2 weeks a lot clearer than the weekly. And due to the depth of the pullback, it wouldn't be shocking to see a 2-week lower high compared to 61.17. So we just got to go one step at a time, but definitely open to it. And of course, if Bitcoin remains strong, that's the environment that we need for this to start to, turn some things around. because if Bitcoin were to get a 6-month lower high, then the whole space is going to come down together. And then even if this ratio did go up, that would then be because ETH is dropping less than Bitcoin, and that doesn't help you too much as a bull. All right, let's look at SEI BTC on Coinbase from Mr. Hort. SEI BTC. SEI BTC on Coinbase. I don't know if I got that here, my friend. Is that what you said? Yeah, looks like that listing is not on TradingView, so we'll just look at the Binance SEI BTC pairing. So what do we got here? We've got a weekly higher low set, holding 12 EMA. We've got a weekly uptrend, and we do have some divergence compared to the USD pairing. USD pairing is to new highs, and the ratio is not. So we got resistance here at 2051, and then all-time highs, which is 25. And let's see what we got on the smaller time frame. So daily uptrend going to be the guide for the weekly bounce as we come into resistance, and we've got a 4-hour uptrend, 4-hour 12 EMA support as the guide for the daily bounce. So if 4-hour uptrend, 4-hour 12 EMA is lost, that's when we'll look for some daily consolidation, and then anything over pretty much the low here at 1371 would be a daily higher low. Bears tried to cross these EMAs to the downside. I mean, they did, but then bulls quickly got back up and over. So bulls would like to hold daily 12 EMA on any consolidation as a sign that they're remaining strong. All right, what do we got? ZEC was the other one. I lost where we were in chat. No, Zeta. I was going to say ZEC is a turd. Zeta BTC. All right, so Zeta BTC nearing all-time highs here. Hasn't been trading all that long. And we got a daily stair step that broke, daily higher low quickly set, and a bull flag. So just looking up at all-time highs here at 47.60, and that's all there really is to say on this. If we were to top here, I'd still be looking for like a cup and handle type thing, but you could say that this is the handle, and then bulls are trying to go up and confirm it. So 4-hour, lots of room for a 4-hour higher low. So while we set the daily higher low and went to higher highs, bull's going to need a 4-hour uptrend to be confident and follow through. So got to do some of that because this is still straight off the lows at this point. And that's all there really is to say on this thing. Not a lot of history. I know Bitfinex, I don't know if this is a new coin. Let's look around at some USD pairings. Yeah, I guess it's just a new coin. Guess it's a new coin, all-time highs on KuCoin. Zeta USD on Coinbase, all-time highs here as well. So for the USD pairing, just daily stair step into blue skies. 4-hour, bears tried to confirm a downtrend, bulls stuffed them and just went to higher highs here. So absolutely strong 4-hour 12 EMA guide, blue skies for bulls. Let's see what else we got here. Cody and Julia, yes, I'm over at Dan's, hanging out with Schweety for a bit, doing some food in 15 minutes. And yeah, he was like, oh, the kitchen's probably the best place for you to set up, but I don't know, I'm not gonna not set up in this room. So I had to move some coffee tables around to get my mobile setup going, and it actually worked out well because this is the first test run on my mobile setup. I recently got it so that I can move around a little bit and enjoy the freedoms of working from home. So it's good that the stream is working out all right at this point. All right, let's look at ICP for Cody and Julia. I'm assuming both of you are here listening. Let's see, ICP. So weekly 12 EMA going to be the guide, bigger picture. In the talk about the difference between blue sky bulls and bulls who have a bunch of baggage overhead. ICP is definitely one of the baggage overhead bulls, but still very strong in the intermediate term. So key support going to be that 952 and weekly 12 EMA. And maybe not looking too great here. So this, while looking at the weekly chart, I wouldn't say a lower high is the most likely scenario because the pullback was pretty ginger. We held the 12 EMA and we're moving on up. But when you look at the daily chart, this sure looks like a rising wedge starting to form. We're not getting follow through on the higher highs. So got to look out for that. If that breaks bear, then that would be a weekly lower high shaping up, and we'd look back to the 12 EMA as the guide for health. Because just because a weekly lower high shapes up, it doesn't mean you're doomed. You can hold it. We could do that and hold the 12 EMA and then continue on up from there. So it definitely doesn't mean you're doomed, but not seeing a lot of strength here in the scheme of things when you consider Bitcoin has been stair-stepping up since February 5th, and ICP, if we look at the open of February 5th, we're up 5.71%. Not too strong here. Let's see. Honey USD for Ed laughs. Honey USD. So we got a new coin here. Big pump yesterday, 36%, but giving a lot back here. Let's look at our context. So that's a weekly bounce getting underway. We know that anything under 99 cents is going to be a weekly lower high. And at this point, this sure is looking like a daily trend change without follow through. From a percentage perspective, it definitely got a lot of follow through, 31%. But there's two ways to measure follow through magnitude. One is the percentage move, and the other is the number of candles. You want to see some successive candles before you consolidate. We know that names are going to consolidate eventually, but to get the break and then potentially head right into consolidation, not the greatest look. So let's look at the 4 hour. Yeah, bit of a blow off top there with that move. So at this point, we do have a 4 hour bounce underway, but anything below 2611 going to be a 4 hour lower high, and bears would have to confirm the 4 hour downtrend for us to then say like that could very well be a quick weekly lower high shaping on up here. So let's see what we've got in the shorter term. Probably hourly uptrend going to be our guide. Little slinky hourly uptrend as the guide for this 4 hour move. If that's lost, that'll be our 4 hour lower high being set. And what bulls want to do, if they want to recover this, they've got to bounce over 50% of this move down. So if we pull our fib, it's looking like that. So bulls need to get to 2275 to decrease the odds that bears can confirm a downtrend. If they can get up to 2275 or over, then we'd look for a 4 hour tightening range, and that would need to break bull to see daily bounce continuation. Then if that daily tightening range broke bear, we'd kind of be in the same position as if bears just confirm the downtrend from here. So definitely a weak name. Definitely a weak name, and not the follow through bulls we want to see after putting in a 36% day. All right. So Hort was looking for USD pairings. We'll look at them real quick here. We did a little bit of Zeta USD, SEI USD. I think we looked at SEI at the beginning. So if you go back to the beginning of the stream, talked about SEI. We've got 4 hour uptrend, 4 hour 12 EMA. That's the guide. Once that's lost, daily consolidation will be underway. Bulls want to hold daily 12 EMA as they push through some blue skies. Looks like we got a little scam wick on Coinbase to worth watching at one psychological. We'd be watching that anyways because of the psych level. All right. Let's see, can we get any coin analysis pre-earnings? Yeah, we can. We can, but it's typically best to wait for earnings because it's like, you're not going to, or hopefully not going to just gamble on it into earnings. And it's better to wait and see what you get after and then figure out what you've got. But if we get a bearish reaction to earnings, that'll be a weekly lower high compared to 187.39 shaping up. If we get a bullish reaction, then that is an unlikely weekly bull flag confirming. And I say unlikely because we pulled back enough for a weekly lower high, and that makes the lower high compared to this 187.39 the most likely scenario. But if we get through that, next resistances we'd be looking at is 206, 217. What else we got here? 281. I guess we don't need to talk about that. That's pretty far away, right? That's pretty far away. I imagine the implied volatility is probably 10 to 15%, something like that. So if we get a bearish reaction, bulls are going to be looking for a weekly higher low. I guess that's where pre-earnings analysis can be helpful to know if you're interested in buying a dip or not. But yeah, relative strength here today compared to Riot and Mara. But daily uptrend going to be the guide. Daily 12 EMA, if that holds, bulls are chilling. And yeah, we'll have to see what the earnings do. Maybe they'll drop. I'll probably wrap it up. I don't want to shortchange Sweetie on any food. Let's see, for Hort, can you recommend a non-crypto futures broker to U.S. residents? I trade on Tradevate as my primary futures broker because it has low margins and you can really leverage into stuff there. But I also trade futures on TD Ameritrade. If you've got a lot of money and low margin rates are not that important to you, then I would definitely recommend TD Ameritrade. But for some comparison on the margin differences, on Tradevate, it costs you $500 to open up one ES contract, which is I think $230,000 notional value, and it costs you $500 to open it up. On TD Ameritrade, it's like $12,000 or $13,000 to open it up. So you're talking like way lower margin rates on Tradevate. So I don't love Tradevate, and I'm actually considering checking out some other brokers. I had one issue with them and basically was unable to communicate with anybody. So I understand brokers are going to have issues and whatnot, but if your communication line is not open, then I've got beef with you. So I kind of just haven't gotten around to checking out other brokers, but my main lead right now is Optimus Futures. We got a member in the Chart Guys who spoke pretty highly about Optimus, so I'm going to perhaps this weekend make an account and try it out. So aside from that one issue I had with Tradevate, I've liked everything else. It does me very well. So yeah, I'm a bit bummed that they dropped the ball the way they did. I ultimately got locked out of my account for like a week, and they wouldn't tell me why. I wasn't able to talk to anybody. It was awful. It was awful, but I'm still with them just because it's a pain to move elsewhere. But yeah, Optimus Futures, I'm going to be checking them out. And a lot of folks in the Chart Guys use Tradevate and haven't had issues. So just a little scorn personally. All right. Yeah, I think that's all we've got here. Thank you all for tuning in. Yeah, all right, Hort. If the high margin rates on TD are a no-go for you, then perhaps check out Tradevate. Perhaps check out Optimus. Be a pioneer. The big thing to know with those is you don't have any FDIC insurance. So it's kind of the trade-off because you don't have FDIC insurance, but you only need to keep like 5% of the capital that you would need to keep in TD Ameritrade to take the trade. So it's always a trade-off, like everything in life. All right, the cut. What's the difference between EMA and MA? So a moving average is just going to be a clean average of the close of the last X number of candles. So if you're looking at the 20 period moving average, it's just the last 20 candles, close prices, added on up, divided by 20, and then that's what it prints. An exponential moving average puts more weight in the more recent candles. It's a more complicated equation. I don't know it off the top of my head. But yeah, it's more heavily weighted to recent price action. So both have a time and place in trading. On these streams, I pretty much always have my 12 EMA and my 26 EMA. But like in the commodity space, I'll very often switch over to my moving averages where I've got the 20 or the 200, the 50, and the 20. So time and place for both, that is for sure. All right. Jeff, I've heard decent things about Tasty Trades, but haven't tried them out personally. Honestly, Tradeovate used to rock, but it was when NinjaTrader bought out Tradeovate. I don't know if they're trying to like kill them off, like buy out the competition, cut off their air, and then work more towards cornering the market. I don't know if that's their goal, but it sure seems like it because it definitely got a lot worse right when they bought them out. Fortunately, they did improve some of the back end stuff because it was like freezing up for a little bit after they got bought out, and it hasn't done that in many months for me. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. I mean, the thing is people gotta find out what works best for them. There's some people that are devout Tasty Trade members or account holders. Some people that are devout Tradeovate account holders, but everybody's gonna have a little different preference. There are some things like some objective issues with some brokers, but I don't really know of anything objectively right or wrong with any of these. But I am looking forward to checking out Optimus just because I'm still salty with Tradeovate, and I do think it's a bit of an additional liability that I'm not interested in. If you cannot get in contact with anybody, they literally don't have customer service. They send you over to NinjaTrader and then they like try to kick you back to other people. It was a very helpless feeling, and that's a liability. If you run into issues where, like, say the broker craps out and you're locked in a trade and you can't get out, then you can't talk to anybody about it, and that's obviously concerning. And the way they handled that situation it doesn't give me confidence that if there was an issue, they would resolve it properly. All right, one last one, and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see, for Priyanka Misra, SNXUSD, T. We'll do it on Binance. So this is, I would put this very similar to the weekly lower high gang. So we've got a weekly bounce underway, but there's still tons of room for a weekly lower high. You could say that anything below 445 is one, but I'm probably just going to view this as one move down and call anything below these highs of 495 a weekly lower high. So the daily uptrend is going to be our guide for the weekly bounce, and anything over this 337 going to be a daily high or low. If bulls hold daily 12 EMA, consolidation's healthy. If we lose daily 12 EMA, that'd be the first sign that a weekly lower high is shaping on up. So steady move off the low, and bulls are looking good. They like to land this back test here. It's not a coincidence that it's a perfect tag of the EMA. So a little daily stair step here. Let's see if we got a 4-hour trend with it. Yeah, perfect. So 4-hour 12 EMA, guide for the daily move. If that's lost, then that will be our daily consolidation shaping on up, and we'll look down to that daily 12 EMA. And as long as daily 12 EMA is holding, then no weekly consolidation is shaping up. But if we were to form a lower high here, we would have to watch out for the potential of weekly lower lows compared to, or breaking below 297. So if bulls want to decrease those odds, actually they've just done it. 384 was the level, we got 383.7. So they'd like to see a little bit more of a leg up to increase the odds that they can stay in a weekly tightening range if we do get that weekly lower high scenario. All right, got a few more questions rolling in. Let's see, Max. Hey, Joey, how do one do swing trade using EMA rider strategy? Thanks. You pretty much identify what EMA you're riding, and then you look to make an entry off of it. So um, let's go back to what would be a good example. I guess CCJ, the uranium space. Um, weekly 12 EMA. So if you're swing trading, you probably want to be using like weekly or daily EMAs. You can use monthly, depends on your time frame. But once you come down into this area of interest, then you zoom in, you look for clues on the smaller time frames, a pattern on the daily, it could just be a daily trend change, could be a daily stair step, falling wedge, something like that. There's no way to really know what the pattern will be. We know what the task is, which is we're trying to get a higher low off the 12 EMA. And then as to what tool is viable, we don't know. We got to zoom in and find out. So then you use your smaller time frame pattern, set up the play, put your stop below the low, and hope that the riding can continue. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. You wanna find something that is riding a clear EMA where you can. I mean, we can like look at Pendle as a good example, and gave so many chances to get in on this. Once you hold that EMA and come up, the next time you come, and this one was difficult with the wick down below, but you just look to buy off that EMA, and you can be selling into strength and then reloading off the EMA again, or you can just walk up your stops. If you want more of a hands-off swing trading strategy, then you're just walking up stops and letting it just go. And as long as that status quo is intact of riding whatever EMA you're playing on, then you're good to go. Let's see real quick for Justin. Speaking of brokers, do you know if you can buy, sell, then rebuy in a cash account within 30 days? Yeah, I think so. You'll probably get a wash sale on it, but I don't believe it's any different from a margin account in that regard. Let's see. Yeah, so you would get a wash sale. Essentially, what a wash sale is it's just an accounting thing in a tax perspective. You don't like lose money on it. It may look like that, and I think Fidelity is one of the brokers that actually shows like the red P&L because it adjusts your cost basis, but it's just keeping people from like locking in a loss for tax purposes and then buying right back in and basically getting like artificial tax losses there. But you don't like lose money because it just kicks the can down the road. So if you say you buy something at $10 and you sell it at you buy 1,000 shares of something at $10, you sell it at $9 for a $100 loss. Or no, that would be a $1,000 loss. So you buy 1,000 shares at $10, you sell at $9 for a $1,000 loss. If you buy it right back at $9, you don't get to have that $1,000 loss on your taxes. It will put your cost basis back to 10 because that is the wash sale thing. So it might show you being down $1,000 on it. But that's because you already lost $1,000 on it. You didn't get like an additional $1,000 loss marked in. So the issue is when you have a bunch of wash sales and then it comes to the end of the year, and then ultimately all of your losses throughout the year the can gets kicked down the road because they just tag it on to your cost basis of your next trade, and then you would end up paying more taxes than you would need to because you can't count those losses. But it doesn't mean that you can never count those losses because then they just get put on to the next year's taxes. So there's an easy way to not fret about wash sales, and that is to not trade anything that you have wash sales on for the final 30 days of the year. So once you get into like November, look into your broker, see what you've got wash sales on, and then don't trade those things. And that will allow the losses to actually hit your tax report or whatever, your account report. It will allow those losses to be recorded, and then you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I just I see your next question, Kanye, Justin Kaye. That's the quick skinny of what a wash sale is. The only way that it screws you is if you ride the wash sales into the new tax year, because essentially what that would be like is, so all your winning trades, you're going to get taxed on that. So say you make $10,000 in the year. Well, say you make $1,000 across the year, and that was from making 21,000 and losing 20,000. Well, if those wash sales get carried over into the next year, then you're going to get taxed on $21,000, even though you only like made $1,000. But then that next year you would have a $20,000 write-off. So it's just shifting things around, but you don't want to have it shifted and get taxed on money that you didn't actually make. So you just got to stop trading for the final 30 days of the year on anything that you have wash sales on. And as a disclaimer, I am not a tax professional. Consult with your tax professional. This is not tax advice. This is just somebody who has to navigate the space, and that's how you go about it. You'll have to look into your broker and to see how, if you have wash sales and all of that stuff, all that jazz. All right, I got to wrap it up for real before Sweetie Pants eats me. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a good weekend, and we'll see this weekend, does Bitcoin go sideways while Bitcoin dominance drops and we see some alt fun? It's on watch. It is on watch. Let's do one last little check-in on Bitcoin. Yeah, really looking like this daily stair step is going to break. But again, bears have to take out 4-hour 12 EMA to be confident. And then from there, to be confident in any follow-through, would need to confirm a 4-hour downtrend. And bulls will absolutely be looking for hourly oversold conditions. All right. Take care, everybody. I will see you next time. Thanks, Squirrel Funds. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate y'all, too. Oh, snap. I got to ask for likes. If you can hit the like button, that will keep Dan from firing me. Farewell, everyone.